First of all, Luqman, let's look at the downstream sector. We do know that on Monday, KPMG released a report saying that the federal government had lost about 25 billion naira to overpaid oil marketers. Now, the government has suspended the payment, the subsidy payments to oil marketers currently. What exactly is going on there, Luqman?
Yeah, as you already know, there was an investigation that was carried out by the House of Representatives, and the report was sent to the federal government to prosecute those who they said are involved in the so-called scam. The federal government has said they are going to do something about it and all that. Now, the investigation is still ongoing because just like the federal government said, you can't prosecute, you can't say people are guilty until they are found guilty, really. But the key issue here is this. The report has shown that there is inefficiency in the system. So the most important issue is how do we take care of these inefficiencies? How do we ensure that money is not lost in that sector? I mean the government money. How do we ensure that the subsidy that is being paid, benefit the masses? That is the greatest issue here.
Now, Luqman, more recently, we heard that private companies are actually stopping importation of the product as they're not seeing any of those subsidy payments coming from the government since the government suspended it. In fact, the federal government seems to have exhausted funds they had put aside for subsidy payment. Now, has this been sorted out, and exactly what is the federal government and the marketers doing to sort this out? Because it is causing some fuel scarcity right now in Nigeria.
Yes, I think the importers are actually doing what any businessman would do. If you have sold products and you're expected to be paid and you are not being paid, chances are that you are not going to continue. Don't forget the fact that most of, if not all of those oil marketers go to the bank to borrow money. And for as long as their payment is being delayed, interests are going to be mounting on those loans, and it is going to be a loss to them at the end of the day. So I think it's a way to cut their losses because they are not sure whether they are going to be paid or not. That is a very, very serious issue because, as you are aware, if they don't import, there is not going to be products and there is going to be crisis in the system. But I think the federal government is already addressing that because they have actually instructed the central bank to commence the payment of, I believe, the first quarter, while investigations is still going on the fourth quarter of 2011. So I believe with the commencement of the payment, I believe there is going to be some activities going forward. But again, the fear is this: the subsidy that was budgeted, subsidy payment that was budgeted for this year is 888 billion. And the information we are having is the fact that 551 of that has already been paid. So what is going to happen? It means that there won't be enough money to pay subsidy for the rest of the year. And there is only one thing, two things anyway. It's either you stop subsidy or you go back to the National Assembly to increase the amount of money payable for subsidy this year. Both are not easy really, but then we just have to do something, and it is important that we make what we want to do clear as early as possible so that it doesn't, it doesn't affect fuel supply in the country.
But Luqman, let's shift our attention to the power sector now. Now we do know that the liberalization of the power sector is ongoing. We're seeing the IPPs coming into play. BP actually said that we're going to hear who won the bids in October. Now, let's talk about some of the financing strategies, of course, and sources that we're going to see coming out of this. Already we've heard AFC come out saying that they're set to commit about 450 million naira in loan assistance to some of these IPPs. What are some of the strategies we're going to see and sources of financing that we're going to see coming out of this process?
Yeah, I think currently, in the next few months, the power sector is going to be the most interesting sector, given the fact that liberalization has taken place. Now, the essence of that liberalization is why is liberalization to start with? Of course, we know that the national power the National Power Agency, which is PHSN, has been giving poor services. The government doesn't have enough money to do all that is required in that space. There is also the need to increase the pool of availability of power sources. Now, taking all this together, we saw the government coming out with the liberalization policy, which is aimed at expanding the sector and bringing in the private sector. Now, as you may be aware, funding the power sector is a whole lot of money. But the good news is the fact that the US Exim is committing as much as 1.5 billion into that sector. The World Bank is also giving partial risk guarantee to most of those IPPs, independent power projects that the bulk trading company is going to be buying power from. You've also seen GE Electric, General Electric, committing to participate.
So Luqman, it seems like we are seeing quite a lot of financing going on in the power sector in terms of IPPs. Unfortunately, we're going to have to stop the discussion there for today. Thank you so much, Luqman Agboola, an oil and gas analyst with Diamond Bank.